I want to talk to you guys this evening about gentrification, and I don't want you to just survive it. I definitely want you to thrive in it. Now, I think it's that important that I wrote some stuff down, and I'm going to read it to you. And if you can, take some notes, come back and revisit this video, okay? Now, here's some facts. Every single year, $16 billion in matured savings bonds go unclaimed. About $10 billion in stocks, bonds, and dividends unclaimed. $8 billion in lost or unused gift cards. $850 million in unclaimed 401k accounts. And 1 out of 3 life insurance policies go unclaimed every single year. Now, here's the state of America's personal and financial affairs. Now, the population of the United States is currently a little over 326 million folks. Now, nearly 1/2 of these Americans have no idea what their credit score is. Now, approximately 43 working Americans have a credit score of 600 or lower. Now, think about this. The average debt per household exceeds $225,000, and many folks have less than $500 in a savings account, if they have a savings account at all. Now, about of every 100 people you walk by or that you see in the course of a day, 49 of them have no retirement, and only 18 of them know that they're on track to reach their retirement income goals. 65 of those folks have no will, 82 of them have no trust, and 71 of them have no powers of attorney. Now, I want you to think about this. Now, how many of you have less than perfect credit or have debt and no idea of how you're going to pay it off? You don't have your personal or your financial affairs in order, and you know you may not be able to pay those tax spikes when gentrification hits your area. Yeah, I want you to think about this too. How many people do you know just want a solution or a plan of action to save their homes during gentrification? How many people do you know where to find their family members' wills and or insurance documents, or know of all the financials of their spouse or their significant other? Now, why do you think this is? Primarily because we were never taught. No one ever emphasized to the folks in the Black community especially the importance of these kinds of things. And further, our formal education didn't teach us about the importance of personal finances, budgeting, short and long-term planning, or achieving long-term success, so we tend not to think about it. Now, let's talk about credit first. Now, today, your credit score is like a vital sign. It is being monitored all the time. It can impact your insurance premiums, interest rates, and other financial resources that you may need to access during gentrification. Now, you can be denied the ability to purchase or rent, get a credit card, get employment, or even promotions on your job. And I know that to be true because I have been instructed to use that as an HR director to hold people up from promotions. Now, over the course of your lifetime, if you do not get that part of your life in order, poor credit could cost you about $200,000, and that is definitely on the low end. Now, good credit is important because it gives you options. It's important to have a good credit score when your neighborhood is gentrifying because it'll help you pay spikes in those property taxes if you miss the appeals deadline. It'll help you refinance your mortgage at a lower rate. It'll help you acquire additional capital to renovate or remodel your home. And you'll be able to invest in distressed properties throughout your community to renovate and sell for a profit. Now, you got to restore your score. Now, many of you out there don't even know that there is a Fair Credit Reporting Act. And this is a piece of legislation that gives you the right to dispute and or investigate any item on your credit report. This legislation allows you the right to leverage your legal rights to investigate, dispute, challenge all negative items on your credit report. Now, there are things that I know that I had on mine in the past. Inaccurate, erroneous, and obsolete items such as late payments, collections, bankruptcies, judgments, medical bills, etc. those things can be potentially deleted or updated on your report to reflect paid as agreed. Now, good credit gives you buying power. If you are armed with excellent credit scores, you can join forces to buy distressed properties in your own communities and keeping those developers out. You can renovate and hold various properties as rental property, keeping profits inside of the communities for yourselves and your family. You can increase the employment rate within your community because there's a lot of unemployed, very talented people out there who just need an opportunity. And you can capitalize on your own community redevelopment and keep those developers out. Now, moving from credit, these are things that you should put in place while you are alive. You need to get your will, your trust, and your powers of attorney in order. Now, let's talk about wills first, because most people die without a will. Now, dying with a will is slightly better than not having one at all. However, there are still some major drawbacks, being that a simple will forces your estate to go into probate. And probate, plain and simple, is court intrusion. So whatever you or your family may have wanted is no longer important because the court is going to make that decision for you. Probate is a process in which legal title of the property is formally passed from the deceased to their heirs after all debts have been settled. Now, probate is court supervised. It administers the dead person's estate and transfers property at death according to the terms of the will. Now, on a national average, the probate process can take 5 to 8% of your estate out of the pockets of your beneficiaries and gives it to courts, lawyers, and other outside individuals. What a lot of people don't know is a will is public information. The contents of your will can be on file at the courthouse. Your will can be read by anybody seeking to take advantage of the publicity that is required in the probate process. Many developers, folks, check public records regularly as a way to buy your property. Now, a lot of folks I know, maybe 60 and up, have properties in D.C. and Maryland that they own. But in D.C. and Maryland, the law allows folks to defer their property taxes because most of the folks who retired are on some kind of a fixed income. So they can maintain, if the house is paid for, they can maintain. However, tax deferred does not mean you do not have to pay taxes. So what happens with a lot of these folks is that the family doesn't know all of this is going on. And say that person lived, 10, 15, 20 years beyond. That's 10, 20, 15 years of taxes that are backed up that your heirs have to come out of pocket for. And if they can't come out of pocket, the developer is going to get your property. Now, a quitclaim deed is something that folks my age and over have used effectively, kind of to work around having their house go into probate. But they complete quitclaim deeds doing those kinds of things. But however, and a quitclaim deed is a legal instrument, and it transfers interest in the real property. And that's primarily your house. When a quitclaim deed is properly completed and executed, it transfers interest from the owner of the property to that recipient. However, if the person you include as recipient, for example, your children, files for bankruptcy, your house can be attached to that individual's debt. And it's going to complicate it for the other folks you may have listed. Say you have 7 or 8 children, like this woman I talked to about 4 months ago. And her mom has a house that she owns in D.C., and all of them are listed. However, if any one of them files for bankruptcy, is sued, or doesn't pay the taxes, the IRS can levy and sell your property, and in that case, nobody will benefit. In addition, if you want to sell or refinance your house, you will need permission from the listed recipient. So you really want to think that through all the way. Now, gentrification and home loss. Many heirs are losing property in gentrifying areas because during the probate, the following things have to be paid: all the decedent's debt, court costs, attorney, administrative, and appraisal fees, jurisdictional and property taxes. Now, if the decedent's debts are higher than their assets, the heirs may end up with nothing once the estate is settled. And that happened in my family. Now, living trust is the best way to avoid probate because the reason is that the trustee of your living trust owns that property. Therefore, there's no need for probate. A living trust is a legal document created by you during your lifetime, and it spells out exactly what your desires are with regard to your assets and your heirs. You also need that medical power of attorney. That's sometimes referred to as a living will or a healthcare directive. I want to make sure you all have all the right terminology. And it allows you to name someone to be your decision maker about medical treatment and healthcare in the event you become unable to do so. Financial power of attorney allows you to name someone as your decision maker, giving them the power to manage your financial affairs if you become unable to do so. Now, for complete estate planning, folks, in order to preserve what you have worked your entire life for, you absolutely positively need a living trust, and that needs to be combined with your powers of attorney and your will, because that is the most comprehensive protection available. Guys, you need to get this information. Go to survivethegword.com if you live in the District of Columbia, because that will give you every in and out of the laws in D.C. and what you need to do to hold on to that property. But in the meantime, if I can help you get that living will, that the powers of attorney, and your living trust, not your living will, excuse me, your will, your trust, and your powers of attorney, then that is certainly going to help you preserve what you worked your entire life for yourself and your family. So with that, my time is up. I definitely don't want you to have the story or the many stories that I hear of people losing their properties in D.C. because I've seen it all too often. And as a community, there is something you can do about it if you get the information. So with that, my time is up. My number is 301-641-9545 if you want more information. I'm happy to educate you because, again, we have to get our economic power back, people. And D.C. and Prince George's County is being taken over by developers. You can stop it. Smart people make smart decisions. Get your financial and your personal affairs in order. And with that, I'm going to say good night. Let's see if I can stop this.